In order not to repeat the whole history of the northern Black Sea region, it should be clarified that at the beginning of the 17th century, Donbas territories were occupied by Tatars who led a nomad's life. However, Ukrainian Cossacks and then the peasants moved here shortly afterwards. In 1722, the Russian researcher Grigory Kapustin discovered coal here. It took 50 years for the industrial development to begin in Donetsk coal basin, Donbas. Brits made a big contribution to the development of the Donbas. For example, village of Yuzivka, modern-day Donetsk, was named after the Welsh businessman John Hughes. There were engineers and managers from Britain who lived and worked here. And in the meantime, millions of people from different ethnicity were employed to work in the mines. It was Ukrainians, Russians, Greek, Tatars, Jews, many others. This is how a very special community of the region was formed. It had its own point of view and perspective of the world. The peasants, along with the working class of the Donbas, also lived in the modern Donetsk and Lugansk regions. These territories were mainly inhabited by ethnic Ukrainians. The Greeks lived closer to the sea. Holodomor of 1932-33 made Ukrainian peasants run to mines to work. After the Second World War, Bolshevik government forcibly sent hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians there to recover the Donbas industry. Therefore, the percentage of ethnic Ukrainians in the region has never been less than 50%. Thus, Ukrainians made up 61% of the Donetsk region population in 1926, 55 in 1959, and 57 in 2001. The percentage of ethnic Russians at this time ranged from 24 to 38%. 77% of residents of Donetsk and 80% of residents of Lugansk regions voted during the referendum of 1991. 84% of voters from both regions selected to live in a free Ukraine. However, the economic crisis of 19th and the decline of industry hit the Donbas. Poverty and banditry increased. The mafia had the control over all of the layers of society. Mafia and political clans were authorities in the Donbas. All the problems about the lack of money were caused since ordinary workers had to feed faster in Ukraine. In fact, the region not only gave great investments to the budget of Ukraine, but also received major grants from there. However, they all settled in the pockets of the corrupted officials. The situation was used by a neighboring Russia, which propaganda tried to turn Donbas residents against Ukraine for many years. In spring of 2014, terrorists from Russia entered the territory of Ukrainian Donbas and started a war for independence. But in fact, it was an excuse to invade Ukraine. Terrorists even held a referendum, but unlike 1991 referendum, it was not legitimate and illegal, practically being the cover for terroristic actions. Even its results were known in advance. The number of votes was customized for a desired percentage. Now parts of Donbas are controlled by Ukraine, while some are under the authority of terrorists controlled by Russia. The war is negatively affecting the whole Ukrainian society, but especially the Donbas residents who are forced to live on the front lines. All the progressive people need to help stop the Russian aggression in Ukraine and return peace to Donbas.